Good morning, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio number 361. My name is Mel Popeye Moss, and my co host, Mel O.G. Robbins. We are with Sons of Liberty Riders MC, who sponsors this show each and every week with a little help from our friends. And good morning, Mel. How are you doing?
I am highly pissed off today.
I, kn- I know because I know what you're thinking because there's some news out there and it's not good for anybody.
Lord, no. Not any motorcycle club in the United States, let alone Texas, let alone the COCNI, Council of Clubs and Independents.
Right.
It taints all of it and all of us.
I know it. And, Mel, and it just adds more fuel to the motorcycle profiling and the stuff that's going on within this state. People that are being put into the gang database, even though we know there are innocent people being put into that gang database. This doesn't help any. And Mel, to think that a large club, especially, needs to go after ATM machines, it's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it?
Oh, man. It's, first of all, that organization down there runs anywhere from 300 to 500 members.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually two clubs involved. And the newspaper article didn't really touch on that. It touched on the on the primary club, which is Beast, and they call themselves Beast MG.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Beast is an abbreviation for Brothers of the East.
Mm-hmm.
And the MG, Lord only knows why the hell they came up with MG, to call themselves a motorcycle gang.
Yeah.
And then the second club involved is, and I think it's a pretty well-known fact and has been for a long time, the East Siders down in the Houston area. They were nothing but a glorified support club and support organization for the Beast. And as a matter of fact, the the president of the South Siders, or East Siders, by the name of Hicks, James Hicks, also known as Boss Man, sat on the board of Region 3 in Houston of the COCNI. God bless Texas.
Yeah, and Mel, and of course we're not mentioning anything that's not out there in the news.
Oh,
In fact, that's where we found out.
Yeah, it's all over the news. And, all the work we've tried to do to tell the public and to show the public, MCs and bikers are not street gangs.
Right.
And then you have an outfit like this that does stuff like this, and it just paints everything black. Now, so far, there's been 5 of them arrested, and they're looking for another 2. The cheapest bail on this thing is, let's see, the 5 were arrested in Texas on September 23rd. He set one guy's bail at $263,000. Everyone else is bail set at $600,000.
Wow. Mel.
And that this isn't the end of it. I mean, they pulled most of this crap over in Louisiana, just across the border. So here we go, crossing state lines, stealing vehicles, stealing forklifts to rip off ATM machines. Supposedly, it's about $150,000 that they ripped off. Well, they ripped off an ATM machine. That's bank robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here come the feds, and here comes the RICO Act.
Yep.
Guarantee it.
You know, Mel, well, the shame of all this is I'm sure there are pissed off members of those clubs that had no clue any of this was going on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would, excuse me, I would be the first to say, not every member of both those organizations were involved in this.
Right.
And there are some that are probably shocked and ashamed at this point. But the problem is that it isn't just regular patch holders that are involved in this. I mean, you got a major player in there that's part of the presidency of that club. In fact, he ran the frickin' club.
You know,
so when you got problems like that at the top, it's a bad issue.
It taints everybody. Everybody. Yep. And this day and age, when we're being targeted, it hurts everybody. And it's a shame that this went down. And you would think that the leadership of these clubs, of all clubs out there, would look around and see that, hey, we don't need to be doing this stuff.
Yep, and now all they've done is empower law enforcement to even go after the clubs more.
Exactly.
Because I'm sure law enforcement's out there pounding their chest right now saying, see, we told you.
Yeah. But you know, Mel, that doesn't stop us from seeking redress for the injustices we see going on clubs that are out there trying to do the right thing.
Well, you know, I think the way you have to look at this, you could draw a parallel to not too long ago there was an entire police department.
Yes.
That was taken down, and most of them were arrested for crimes. So I think you can draw the same parallel. Just because these two clubs were involved in some bad stuff and set a bad light on everyone doesn't mean the entire community's bad. Just like I'm sure law enforcement would be first to say, just because that one entire department was rotten to the core doesn't mean that all law enforcement's rotten to the core. And I think that's the point we have to keep pressing here.
Yes. And that's so true. And, you know, Mel, as you know, I had that conversation, that very same conversation with the sheriff of Tarrant County, Bill Wayburn, where I was talking to him about the number of law enforcement officers that are arrested across the country each and every year. The numbers are in the thousands. And, you know, his comment was to me, well, a few bad apples. And that's when I said to him, exactly, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the same with motorcyclists and club members and society as a whole. You know, the good outweighs the bad by a very, very large percentage. That the people that are out there doing dirty deeds is a very small number in our community. And I will go on record saying that's a fact. We know because we've been looking at the data for years. For years. And, you know, hopefully something good comes out of this. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll certainly look at every aspect of it and hope that the leaders of all these clubs come together and say, hey, enough. We've got enough problems with law enforcement, motorcycle profiling, and people going to jail for traffic tickets. And so we'll continue that fight. But Mel, I want to bring up something. We've got over 1,000 new subscribers, and we want to welcome them to our channel and say thank you. Say thank you to them. You know, we things change for us when you go over 1,000 subscribers. But it seems as though one video has pushed us up close to the 3,000 subscriber mark, and we would like for you to pass on to your friends about us. Now, just for the new subscribers, Mel, I want to touch on a minute who we are. You want to handle that?
Okay.
If you don't want to, I'll do it. But I know you're so eloquent in your description.
Oh, Lord. Well, let's see what we're all about. First of all, you know, we're bikers. We are an MC. We have multiple chapters. We do have a couple of RC chapters that are working their way towards being full patch. But aside from being bikers, we're also, a lot of us, veterans. And we are all about the Constitution and your constitutional rights, especially the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. And anytime we feel that those rights are being violated, we will stand up, scream loud and hard, and we will seek redress from wherever or whoever we need to. So we are also, I guess you would say, political activists. Sons of Liberty Riders MC actually is the foundational sponsor for Texas Biker Radio. We do receive donations because we do have a lot of various expenses that come about when we're trying to gather data and get legislation checked and or passed. For instance, we're bringing in a lot of videos right now on traffic stops or profiling stops with bikers. And some of the departments charge for those, and it's usually in excess of $100. We run newspaper ads prior to court hearings and or trials and or elections. Those are pretty pricey. So, you know, we can use all of the donations we can get. If you go to texasbikerradio.org, which is our website, there is a donate button there, and we are eternally grateful for anyone that ever donates anything, even if it's the equivalent of a beer. If it's $5, we're grateful because it helps. We do not have deep pockets. We're not a wealthy organization. Nobody gets a salary. We just do it for the love of the Constitution, our country, and the love of riding.
Exactly right, Mel. Good description. And we do have some an upcoming trial here pretty soon, October 21st in Milam County. where a biker who also happens to be a 24-year Army veteran, a combat veteran, who's been to every hellhole, who's been to every hellhole our country has sent our troops to over the last 24 years. Yeah, I noticed I lost you there for a minute. But yeah, and now he had a CHL. He was vetted by the state as being a non-criminal or not having a criminal past, but yet he's stopped by a DPS officer who sees that he's a member of a 1% club, in particular the Banditos, and so he revoked his CHL license on the spot, and now he's charged with criminal carry. He's never been in trouble with the law. Let me say it again. He's never been in trouble with the law. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient, 2 Bronze Star recipient. And this is one of America's finest. And this is the way we're going to treat him because he's in a motorcycle club. Now, the people of Milam County have a chance to make this right when he goes to trial. And we're going to make sure they understand this, what's going on. The DPS officer that arrested Bandito Patrick does not have a stellar record himself. Matter of fact is, he should not be wearing a badge. But yet he is. Because law enforcement receives special treatment, don't you know? Now, Judge Steve Young had a chance to stop this in his tracks at the suppression hearing. He's had several chances, yet he keeps on pushing the narrative along with the DPS and the DPS officers. And Mel, they're going all in on this thing. They're going to have expert witnesses and everything. And just think, this is over a traffic ticket. And now all of a sudden, Milam County has a metal detector. And Mel, I forgot to say the last time they had a shooting in that courthouse. But Mel, the last time they had a shooting in that courthouse, it was 2 sheriffs that were shooting at each other. One of them had just kicked the other one's butt in an election, and so they had a shootout in the courthouse. So.
Probably with black powder revolvers, right?
You know, Mel, I was writing this morning. I was writing in TexasBikerRadio.org, and I was reflecting on the fact that when I first went to that courthouse, the fact that there was no metal detectors, that there was no security, that there was none of that crap, it made it unique. But now, Mel, they're just one of the gang. They're just one of the gang that's, hey, look at us. We got a metal detector, and oh my God, here comes a motorcyclist, a gang member into the courthouse. Who's going to come and maybe attack us? The answer to that question is nobody. Nobody. I mean, name me one incident where a motorcycle club has gone and attacked a courthouse. I don't think you'll find one. At all. I mean...
Well, 4 or 5 years ago, Sergeant Patrick alluded to the fact that the bikers had raided the National Guard Armory and were headed for Waco with LAWs, landmines, explosives and automatic weapons to seek revenge.
And don't leave off Melontoff cocktails. So,
Lest we forget that one.
oh yeah, that was Sergeant Patrick Swanton, who got his 15 minutes of fame standing up there lying. And of course, Mel, those reports came from the DPS. Now, we're not anti-law enforcement, but let me tell you, law enforcement itself is not a pillar of truth. They will lie at the drop of a hat to set a narrative. And that's what we work to expose, and that's what we did in Waco, for you new listeners out there. We were heavily involved in that for 4 years, mainly doing research and putting the dots together of all the judges down there and the DA's office and everybody that was colluding with each other. And the reason there wasn't, the reason they did not convict anyone in any trial in Waco was because of an arrogant DA. And I'm going to call him a greedy DA too, Mel. Out of the original people they arrested, Mel, it was over 200 in the original arrest of people, bikers. And the fact is, the majority, if not all, everybody that they arrested was not guilty of a crime. I don't know if everyone that was in the fight in the parking lot was killed. I'm sure there were some others outside of there that probably should have been tried and convicted, but you know what? They messed it up so bad. They drug it on so long that it didn't work out for the DA. Matter of fact is he got thrown out of office. And what a happy day that was. Because we and other groups down there, I have to give mention to Los Paradas MC, who were by our side the whole way, and others that were beside us the whole way and actually worked on Barry Johnson's campaign. We were able to oust Abel Rena. And therefore, we were able to help bring this to an end after 4 years. With no convictions. And now Waco faces over 100 lawsuits, civil suits, coming back at them. But yet, Mel, they're still using the courts to keep those civil suits from coming forward. They're still working it in Waco.
Well, they're going to delay it as long as they can because they're scratching for money.
They are. So we'll keep that on the fire also. Keeping track of that. Let me say this to all the Houston club members down there. What we found out yesterday. We found this out yesterday. 90% of their gang task force members in the Houston area are undercovers. So if you're going to go out there and do some dirty deeds, understand you don't know who's standing next to you.
And that would be COC meetings, bike night, you name it. Look to your right, look to your left, and guess who's coming to dinner.
That's right. And, the fact that you don't know who has gotten in trouble with the law, and now they're a CI. Just saying. Just saying. And Mel, I would assume that's an awful lot of undercovers. Houston's got a huge police force.
I'm sure their budget just got increased over the shenanigans of yesterday.
I'm sure it is. But hey, look, guys, you've got to understand what's coming at you. And they have an endless budget because they're mandated to do this stuff. The governor, the top cop, is giving them the blessing to, hey, go get them into my gang database. Even if they look like a gang member, if they just look like a gang member, you don't even have to have any proof that they've are a gang member or any proof that they've ever committed a crime, any proof that they're a criminal at all. But yet they can put you there, and they can put you there without you knowing it. That's the reason we suggest that you go and find out if you are in the gang database here in Texas. And Mel, this stuff is happening all across the nation. All across the nation. It's not just Texas. And we'll get a list of states that are involved in this, doing the same thing they're doing here. And the thing about it is they have the ability to seek unlimited amounts of tax dollars. It's only when they put themselves in a hole, like they did in Waco, that we can run them broke. But understand, Waco was unique because the amount of bikers that they tried to convict in that one small county. That's the reason we were able to, with one rally after the other, we were able to make them use their entire budget, to the point when we had our last rally, the sheriff's department didn't even show up. They didn't have any money. And they knew what was coming at them in the way of these civil suits. And Mel, we got an inkling early on in that was going to happen when the sheriff's department said, why don't you guys go over to the police department?
Yep.
Why don't you go over there? You're winning. Go over there and bug those guys.
I will never forget that conversation.
Yeah. So that kind of gave us a clue where we were headed. That kind of emboldened us.
First part was, I don't know why you guys want to do this anymore. You got your way.
Yeah.
And the second part was, after he knew we were determined to come yet again, was, well, why don't you go set up across from the Waco Police Department? It was their fault to begin with.
And he was just telling the truth. That's what he was doing. It's absolutely incredible. For you new subscribers, over the next month or so, we're going to be going out in front of these courthouses and seeking redress from the citizens in Milam County prior to this veterans trial. And we'll also be going over to Fort Worth and Parker County, where they've where they've been taking bikers to jail for minor traffic violations. Absolutely incredible. The clubs, the people that are being arrested are not on the Texas, not in the Texas gang assessment report. And so, we think the sheriff's department out in Milam County, they just don't like the fact that they're there. But, that's too bad. There's not any motorcycle clubs in the state of Texas or across the nation that's banned from existing. Not one.
Oh, hey, before we forget.
Yeah.
I had a conversation today. There was a video that was produced that is now for sale or selling on Amazon involving profiling. And apparently, I think you have the information on that.
I do, and I'll post it underneath this video where you'll be able to go and see that video.
It is what, kind of a documentary on
Yes.
On profiling?
Yes. Yes.
What title would they look for on Amazon?
It's Ride Free, I think. It's something like that. Like I said, I will post it underneath this video. I'll also post it on our Facebook sites and Texas Biker Radio.
Yeah, I understand it's not expensive.
Yeah.
And it serves two purposes. One, it's very informative, and secondly, it helps fund the cause.
Yeah.
None of us have deep pockets. All of this stuff costs money
Yes, it does.
to promote these causes, and this would help us with motorcycle profiling.
And Mel,
getting funds for that.
let me say, the other side has deep pockets. When the governor says go out there and do this stuff, and they go out there and they get grants for all this electrical equipment, these profiling centers that they put around the state. They want 6 here in Texas, when 1 would suffice. Why make the taxpayers pay for this again and again and again when 1 would do it? And there are certain things we're finding out about these centers and these databases. And so some cities are running their own databases. So we'll keep up the fight. And like Mel says, this does cost money. But it's money that's not wasted, it's well spent, because every time we get a video, every time we get information, we learn something. And what we plan to do, we plan to give them enough rope to hang themselves, and they will. They will. We just have to be vigilant. We have to get videos. Videos are so important. And Mel, before we get out of here, I want to mention about the kids the other day that went on their climate change march, whatever it was. Their protest, their day off from school, with teachers leading them. And Mel, it was Rush Limbaugh that called it a day of indoctrination. And I don't think he's far off with that. That was more about indoctrinating children than it was about climate change. Getting them to buy into the narrative. Here we are again. Somebody selling a narrative to our children. And I suggest that any parent listening out there, get hold of your kid and straighten them out. There's nothing we can do about the weather. There's nothing they can do with China and India, who are the world's largest polluters. But all they can do is attack this country. And they do it over and over again, maliciously targeting anyone who does not agree with them. They're turning your children into good little socialists. And climate change is at the forefront of it. They don't even realize that they are going to cost themselves opportunity, jobs, money, if they were to get their way. So let's set them straight. Let's set them straight. I know all my kids and my grandkids know the facts. I make sure they do. That they're not buying into this thing, that we can change the weather, stop hurricanes. We just can't do it. And so, Mel, today, Nancy Pelosi says she's going to go along with impeaching the president without a full House vote. Now, she's sidestepping. She's sidestepping the way it should be done. And she's going to work with these 6 committees that are out there that are already doing this stuff. But, Mel, this is all about beating up on the president, trying to lower his poll numbers, and it's all about going toward the next election for the next 14 months. And, you know, when I look at the other side, I see a giant job-killing, economy-killing machine is what it is. And I guess if you want that, you go vote for it.
You betcha. Get what you deserve.
That's right. And with that, Mel, we're at our time limit, buddy.
Well, good night. Be safe. I'll see you when you get back to town.
All right. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy what's left of this week. And next time we're on, it's going to be right before the Milam County rally, which is October 5th, Cameron, Texas, 1:30 p.m. Join us there, everybody. It's going to be fun. We're going to rock the house. Bye-bye.